Now it's open book season. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Are we clear? Where's that iPhone at? Oh, where is my iPhone at? Oh, where can you be? Okie dokie, found ya. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. Enough is enough. I know you guys have been trying to figure out what happened to ASOP for way too long, and I've been wasting time. Not only did I leave ASOP last year, this year ASOP closed down completely. So I've been getting messages from so many people. What happened to ASOP? What happened to ASOP? What happened to ASOP? What happened to ASOP? What happened to ASOP was me. I left. How was ASOP going to survive without me? I'm just kidding. That was my ego. Me and my ego, we live in the same body, so yeah. Me and my ego, I fight with my ego every day, you guys. ASOP closed down at the beginning of this year. They tried to liquidate during the holiday season. I don't know why. The person who I was working with, who I quit on, or I wouldn't even say that I quit on them. I would say like maybe I'll post the text messages on the screen. I went to go take screenshots of the conversations and they're hella long, like we were going back and forth. So it's like, I'm not going to post these. It's going to be too much to read unless I go through them with you guys. So if you want to see that, make sure you leave a comment down below so that I know. Like, I pretty much was like, you're going to have to pay me more if you want me to keep working here because it's not worth it for me. The person that I was dealing with then, she ended up telling me when I was asking for my documentation for my taxes this year that she wasn't working there either. This year was going to be the year that I was going to tell them to stop using my images because they were using my likeness for a long time after I left, and a lot of people didn't know I left because they kept posting my pictures. I was gonna let them use it for a year, and then this year I was gonna tell them to stop. But when I went to go and check to see if they were even a business anymore, they were not. Let's go to the beginning. How did I start working with ASOP? You guys remember when I was living in Vegas, I was working with Fashion Nova, Boohoo, Pretty Little Thing, like a bunch of different brands. ASOP came along and they were the new kid in town, you know? And around this time, I also started my own little fashion boutique. You guys remember that? Daquana White made a video about it. I'll probably link it right here, so that you guys can watch that because, like, I still, until this day, I respect her so much. I started my own fashion boutique where I was modeling for my own clothes, I was buying for myself, and I was also doing everything else behind the scenes. I was doing really well. Around this time is when ASOP hits me up and they're like, hey, we would like to work with you. They were asking me if I could do sponsored content, you know, YouTube videos promoting their clothes. When I went on their website, I realized we had some of the same stuff. That means that we had the same vendors. It didn't really bother me much because one thing about brands is that they're gonna actually need the influencer in order to sell the stuff, right? Because you guys are not just about to go on the website and just buy things. You don't know what the quality looks like. You don't know anything. But once I put it on and I tell you guys what the quality is like, and I tell you guys if I like it or not, you guys will know whether or not it's okay to buy it because you guys trust my judgment. So the fact that I was a brand and an influencer at the same time, I was doing really well. But this brand, ASOP, was started by a bigger company, a parent company that manufactured clothing for like Nordstrom Rack. I don't know if it was actually Nordstrom or Nordstrom Rack, but like department stores. They had big capital. They were just trying to tap into the plus size market because it's a huge market. It's a huge market, you guys, and I'm not done with the plus size market. So they hired a CEO, they hired a CFO, they hired a team to start this company, right? And at the beginning, the company was doing really well because they had a really good team. I don't know what happened internally with those people, but one by one, people started dropping off. Towards the end, it was really only me and one of the photographers that was there when I first came. Everybody else was pretty new. When the company started, I started with them. They literally signed me on to contract 3 months in, but the first month that they started, they had already hired me as an influencer. But 3 months in, they were moving me back to LA so that I can buy for them, so that I can model for them, and so that I could do social media for them, right? So they were giving me a bag. Let's just say it like that. They were bagging me up. All right, so to the beginning. ASOP is a Korean-based brand, right? It's Korean-based. Everybody in there was Korean. Sometimes they would speak Korean around me, and I didn't know what they're talking about. I even complained about it through email. Like, if you're in the same room with me, we all speak English, speak English. If you guys are by yourselves, speak Korean if you want to. But it irritates me when you guys are in front of me, you guys are speaking Korean, and then I hear my name, and I'm like, what are you saying? You know, like that really irritated me. So I would actually bring it up. So it's a Korean based brand, and they hired me as an influencer because they knew that I had a good reach and a good impact for what it was that they were trying to sell. I was also their direct competition, even though I started before them, because we bought from the same vendors and the same manufacturers. The advantage that I had over them was that I am an influencer, and it would be hard for a group of small petite Korean people to promote plus size curvy clothing. You know what I mean? So they needed me. They needed Daquana White. They needed Vanessa and Stephanie, who are the other models. They needed us. The CEO of the company, and it's crazy because I didn't know that you could hire a CEO until I started working with ASOP, was Tim. And Tim was a businessman. Being a CEO, you have to be a businessman, period, point blank. That means you say what the people need to hear. You do to a certain extent what people need. And then when you see that the numbers ain't numbering, you're out. So if you're ever in a company and the CEO leaves for anything other than like a scandal from sexual harassment or something like that, you should probably leave too. I didn't know that. I learned that. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys all the characters, right? When I got there were two main photographers. There was Philip, and then there was Osela, right? Both of them, I love them to death till today. I don't talk to Philip anymore, but he got a new job around the time where I was leaving, so it was kind of like we fizzled out. But he was damn near like my uncle or my annoying big brother. Osela, she left pretty early on, maybe after a year, but we still keep in contact on Snapchat and on Instagram. We still talk to each other. If she's in LA, she'll be like, well, I'm in LA. And then we have Thalia. I love Thalia. Like, she was the stylist for a really long time. There was a stylist before her, but she was kind of irrelevant, and she had bad energy. Like, most of the people that were there had pretty good energy, but the first stylist that I met, she was always like trying to gossip and stuff like that, and I'm not a gossiper. I like to keep things professional, so I didn't even remember her. I don't really remember her name. Okay, and then there's a guy named Jay. I don't know if he's gonna come up much. Me and Jay never had any problems. He was actually the videographer at first, and then towards the end he became the photographer because Philip started missing days and he was going to his other job, you know? Around that time is when I started feeling uncomfortable. I'm like, what's happening? I don't like this place. I forgot to talk about Heather. She was like my work mom. I don't necessarily know her title, but she made work fun for me. She's the one who actually scouted me. She's the one who kept everything running so smoothly. And I think they underestimated her value. I was actually one of the last people standing at ASOP. I was trying to really hold it out because it had a lot of potential, but they didn't believe in my judgment, and so that's the reason why they failed. That's from my perspective, from my opinion. And now we can get into the story. So when ASOP first found me, I was a YouTuber. It was actually Heather who found me. So I spoke to Heather often through email. She would send me packages like damn near every week of new clothes. They would pay me and I'll make YouTube videos talking about the clothes. And remember, it was groundbreaking at the time because it was like a company other than Fashion Nova selling cute plus size clothing, which we needed in this economy. I really loved that for us. Around the time I had just started my own boutique because I felt like we needed something like that, right? But the only thing is that I started my own brand with my own money, and my own capital was not the same type of capital that ASOP had. ASOP was a bigger company that had a bunch of little companies. So I think they were called the K brand or something like that. And then they had Pleon or something like that. They had a bunch of different brands within a brand, and ASOP was one of those brands, right? So I didn't have their type of capital. I couldn't do what they were doing. So when they offered me what they offered me, I was like, okay, I'm down, especially since I really got along with Heather. So one time I was in Los Angeles visiting my mom, and I was hanging out with her. Heather hit me up and was like, hey, we want to send you a box of clothes. And I was like, I'm in LA, so maybe I can come and pick it up, or you can mail it to where I am now, because if you send it to Vegas, someone might pick it up or something. She was like, oh my God, you're in LA? Come down to the office. Around this time, my sister was my manager. So my sister was like, okay, let's go down to the office. Let's plan something for like tomorrow. It was like really quick. And I was like, okay, bet. So we pulled up to the office, and Heather was in awe. Heather is so cute and sweet and small. She was just like, she's one of my favorite people. You know those Asian people who don't have a filter and they just be saying anything? That's Heather. And for some reason, I like that. It might offend other people, but for me, maybe because I'm Nigerian and Nigerian aunties are like the same way Korean aunties are, I really got along with Heather. She brought me down to the warehouse, which was in Vernon, which I'm sure is probably closed down by now because I remember them complaining about the rent towards the end. She took me on a grand tour, and it was beautiful, right? And this place is dope. Like, they had this huge office, which you guys probably saw me filming videos in and stuff like that. They had a bunch of different rooms that you could use to film content. It was upstairs, downstairs. The downstairs portion, there was like a there was like a lobby where there was a couple desks and a seating area where like USPS and FedEx would drop packages and stuff like that. And then when you pass that, there's stairs that take you upstairs to where all the people who did the graphics and the social media and stuff will sit down. There was probably like 6 or 7 desks for people to like do content and upload things and, you know, work. When you pass where all the people worked, then that's where Tim's office was at the back. And right next to Tim's office was Heather's office. And when you walk up the stairs, instead of going left towards the people who are working and then the big bosses, and you go right, that's where that office where I would film at was. And then if you make another right, that's where the huge studio where we would take pictures and film content would be. They had a bunch of different backdrops, and then they had a bunch of different layouts, and then a fitting room, a dressing room. And then if you keep walking down the hallway on the other side, then there's another graphics room in the back. That will take you downstairs to the warehouse, and the warehouse was huge. A huge facility. The place was huge and functional, and could have very much so competed with like Fashion Nova or any plus size brand, to be honest with you, if they just trusted the guidance of someone who knew what they were talking about. They had the money, I had the experience. We were connecting at the beginning, and that's why I was so successful at the beginning. Towards the end, everything started falling apart. So that was the tour, and during the tour she was telling me how I can have a desk right there, and that she wants me to move back to LA, and that if I move back that they can write me a contract, and how they need me so much, and how beautiful I am, and all the different things that they need me for. And at first I was like, this woman is just gassing my head up. But I ended up leaving LA and going back to Vegas, and she did not stop. Every day. So did you decide if you wanted to move? So did you decide if you wanted to move? So are you coming back? So are you working with us? What's up? And I was just like, dang, this woman is serious. So I was telling my sister, I was like, I think she's very serious about this. I thought she was joking, but now I feel like she's very serious. My sister's like, I think she's serious too. So what do you want to do? I told my sister all my concerns. For one, I have my own brand. What am I going to do with all the clothes that I have, that I acquired, that I, you know, the brand that I created for myself? What am I going to do about that? My sister was like, yeah, that's a good thing to bring up and put into the contract. We are pretty much competitors. So me coming to work with you, it's going to be hard for me to sell my things if I'm doing all these things that you want me to do for you. So at the next meeting, that's what we spoke about, and they decided to buy my things on consignment. So pretty much we made a deal, and they moved me back to LA. When I was looking for apartments, Heather was on the phone talking to everybody that I gave her number to, like, yes, she's our #1 employee. I love her so much. She's so beautiful and fun. I'm telling you, all of these people that try to call around, like, mind you, the housing market in LA is really messed up right now, but Heather had my back. The contract that we signed was for 1 year, but after the year, they just loved me so much that they wanted to keep working with me, so we just kept working on the same terms, you know. But remember, after 2019, remember after 2019, what happened on 2019, after 2019, the COVID-19? Y'all remember that? So that had happened. So I moved out here in like March, and then by the end of the year, panoramic, yeah. I will never forget this, but Heather was like, okay, these pictures are ugly. The pictures that I had on my website, she was like, these are ugly. We need to take all these down. We need to retake the photos. So I took down my website, and then they took all of my clothes. So when I moved out here, I moved out with all of my inventory, and then they took all the inventory. Like, they sent someone to come and pick it up, and they took it to the warehouse. And over the next like couple of photo shoots, we took pictures of all of my inventory all over again, and then they put it on the website. And anytime that I would make any sales from that, they would give me a percentage of whatever they sold, and that's how they sold my pieces, and that's how I kept some of my pieces. But my pieces all sold out. They was having some problems with some of the things that they was buying. That was because they had little short, little skinny Asian women buying their clothes. Anyway, they don't know what we need. They don't know the type of support these things need. They don't know what's going on over here. Now I'm in LA. Now I'm doing it big in LA. They paying me out every week. They're paying me $150 an hour to model, which is standard for entry-level modeling in LA. I know you guys are gonna be like, what? To companies that are serious, to brands who have money, they're gonna pay the money because they know that when you get a quality model, somebody who actually knows how to model and knows what they're doing, it's gonna be worth it because it's gonna show on camera, it's gonna sell the pictures, it's gonna sell the clothes. We would have 1 to 2 photo shoots a week, 8-hour long photo shoots. I know y'all in my bank account right now. I know you is. And then they had me buying for them. They would give me a budget that I had to spend within the week of $20,000. That's how it started. They'll give me $20,000. I would have to spend all $20,000. If I didn't, they'll be like, what happened? And then later on, they would give me a budget of $40,000 before I finally quit buying for them, right? Because then I stopped buying for them because you're giving me $40,000 budget and you're paying me $35 an hour. My work increased by double, obviously. If my work increased by double, then I have to find a way to spend $40,000 now. You're gonna have to pay me more too. But they didn't want to, so I was like, okay, for sure. I'm cool with just doing the modeling and then having my free time to do what it is I want to do with my free time. And that's when I started developing like my skincare and stuff like that. I had a little bit more free time. I wasn't going downtown all the time buying things, and I would like go to events and host events and have fun and, you know, take my friends out and travel and do all that type of stuff. It was fun. It was paying me a lot. It was just a good time. Well, that's how it was. And then the pandemic hit. So now we're into the pandemic, right? You guys remember the George Floyd situation where I think there was a day where we blacked out social media where everybody posted like a black square, right? And you were supposed to post that in solidarity with Black Lives Matter. When all the other brands were about to do it, I brought it to their attention, like, what are you guys gonna do about this? Because there's no way that I'm bringing this company this much money. They considered everything that I brought to them up until the people who knew that I was the one bringing the money to them left. So I brought it to them like, hey, you guys have to do something about this. They were like, okay, for sure. What do you think we should do? I told them what I thought we should do. So we made a video. We talked about it. They said that they were going to give a certain percentage. I can't remember the exact percent. A certain percentage of every sale that they got to the Grassroots Law, which is the organization that I was trying to fund at the time. That's not my organization. It was just an organization that I was attached to by following them on social media. But before the CEO left, I had asked him, like, what's up with that money? Like, have you guys been donating? Like, what's going on? And he was like, oh, we're going to set up a meeting. We're going to talk about it. And shortly after, he quit or he left. He just disappeared. I never got to get in. Like, it was weird. It was hard for me to get in touch with him again after that. And it was like, okay. It was random. Like, one day it was like, what happened to Tim? They were like, he's gone. And we wasn't going to do like a farewell party or like, and it was like, there was always this weird tension, like something was going on, but they wouldn't tell me. Like, I wasn't important enough for them to let me know what was going on. We're going to go back a little bit because actually Heather left before Tim. Heather left because they didn't take her seriously. She was the one who brought the money bag on, and she was the one able to move me around properly, because around that time I was working my butt off. I was in the gym heavy, and the only reason why I was able to stay plus size is because of Heather. Heather will come to work with Skittles and McDonald's McFlurries. Mind you guys, like I said, there's going to be a little bit of discrimination in this video because, like I said, I'm Nigerian, so when I get that type of discrimination, like you need to stop working out or you need to eat less or you need to, it doesn't hurt my feelings, but some people it can hurt their feelings. So around the time I was losing a lot of weight, and she was like, you can't lose any more weight. If you lose any more weight, you're not going to be plus size. We can't pay you. I wasn't about to stop going to the gym, so when she told me that, I was like, okay. But I kept going to the gym, and so she would just bring me a bunch of snacks and make me eat them. That didn't hurt my feelings. It was whatever. Okay, so she kept me a little chunky. All right, I needed to stay a little chunky. But me and Heather had that type of relationship, so it was okay. Heather leaves, and I literally cried my eyeballs out when she left. You can ask my sister. I didn't know what to do. I almost didn't want to go back to work. I didn't trust anybody. I felt like I just had anxiety to go back in there without Heather, because I know that she was my mouthpiece. Anything that I needed, if I talked to Heather, she'll make sure it was done. Everybody else didn't fucking care. When she left, she was the one who told me. She actually texted me and said, hey, I quit ASOF. Nobody else said anything. And then after she left, she actually invited me down to her house, and her husband gave me and my mom fruits, and like they fed us, and it was just like a cute little time. And so she keeps in touch, and she's obsessed with my mom, so she's always asking me, how's your mom? How's your mom? And she knew I wasn't gonna be too happy being there without her. So I think that's just why she invited me to her house and like told me all the stuff that she told me. Even though we don't talk all the time, I love her, she loved me, period. After that, Tim leaves. The girl who trained me how to buy, I can't remember her name either, but she leaves. The accountant leaves. When the accountant left, red flag. Red flag, because it was like he sent me an email like, hey, I'm not going to be sending you your invoices anymore. But nobody's telling us what's really happening. You know what I mean? They're just like dipping off here and there, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's just because they got a better job somewhere else or something. Before the CEO left, he ended up firing Osela. That was like some shady shit. That was based off of the fact that he was like friends with Osela's ex-husband. Man, this is too much tea, bro. So this guy chose the side of the husband and ended up getting rid of Osela. It was irritating for me, for her, and then for me too, because I loved her. She was the one who actually taught me how to model, because when they picked me up, I wasn't a model. I was not a model. I don't remember what I was saying because the camera overheated, but now it's just a few of us that were here from the beginning. They started giving people tasks, like extra tasks, but not raising their pay. And so people started getting frustrated. Mind you, this is the pandemic, so a lot of people are not even buying clothes at this time. Sales are gonna slow down, period, because nobody's doing anything. What am I buying an outfit for? I got a birthday, but what is it, for a picture? I'm not gonna buy 6 different outfits like how they used to. And they were still trying to maintain everybody that still worked there. So they were still paying like me, Daquana, all the different like YouTubers to do content, and they were still paying the models to come in and take pictures and stuff like that. But then the vendors and the manufacturers stopped receiving goods, especially the ones who were getting goods from China and those type of things, because they closed all the borders off, and you know, there's just a lot of stuff. So all that drama started happening, and then the company really started on its decline. And now the person who's running everything doesn't really know what she's doing. I'm sorry to say it, and this is the only person's name who I'm not going to say, because I have a lot of negative things to say about her, but I don't necessarily think that she deserves it. I just think she didn't know any better. She's the one who clashed with me at the end, and this will be her, like the text messages that I show will be me and her going back and forth. The reason why we clashed is because around the time that the pandemic started happening, there was like a 40% inflation on everything, gas, utilities, like everything, just life. Everything just inflated, right? But my pay wasn't inflated. As a matter of fact, let's just count these by the thousands, right? So I did 2 shoots a week, that's 2,000. And then I was doing a YouTube video a week, that's 3,000, right? Then I was shopping every week, which was like, let's say 500, right? So 3,500. Then that went from 1 shoot a week to 1 video a week, and then no shopping, right? Then that went from half-day shoots to a video every other week. And then it went down to half-day shoots whenever they might be able to make a shoot, to a YouTube video whenever they can make a YouTube video, maybe like once a month. How am I going to sustain the life that you guys brought me out here to live when my income has just drastically decreased like that by the week? So if we do it by the month now, right, we're talking about 8 shoots a month. We're talking about 4 videos a month. We're talking about 4 weeks of shopping to no weeks of shopping, 2 videos a month to 2 shoots a month. Like how am I going to sustain myself all the way down to half-day shoots, so 1 shoot a month and 1 video a month? How? If you guys are going to decrease it like this, you're going to have to raise my price. They were giving a bunch of different people new jobs, right? So the stylist was now answering emails and doing a bunch of other like administration things that she didn't necessarily need to do. So she gives me the heads up that the other models, the white models, are getting paid more than me by $200 every shoot. Imagine at that point I had been working with them for 2 years, and every shoot, and mind you, those first 2 years was like 4 to 8 shoots in a month. Every shoot, those white models were making $200 more than me every shoot. Yeah, that's a no for me, dog. So technically they were making $400 more than me, but 200 of those dollars were going to their agency, but I didn't have an agency. So yeah, think about that. Then on top of that, I did my own hair, I did my own makeup. So at the beginning, I would come hair and makeup ready. So I'd give them a full 8 hours of shoot. But the other models would come in with no hair, no makeup, and they would sit down for 90 minutes and have a makeup artist. So that's another bill that I didn't get hair and makeup. She'll get paid for the whole day to do their hair and makeup, and then the model will get paid for that first whole 90 minutes to 2 hours without working, just sitting there doing her makeup. So I changed it a little bit where I was like, okay, I'm gonna be doing my makeup when I get there. And then I changed it to, I'm gonna do my makeup at home and then get there at a certain time, you know, and then you guys will pay me for those hours that I was doing my makeup at home. But still, they were still paying for a whole makeup artist, and I would be like touching up my makeup and doing all that type of stuff and fixing my hair and stuff during the shoot. So their budget for the white girls was just higher than the budget for me, period. You get me? One of the models was not even plus size, so they would like clip her clothes and stuff like that. And on top of that, she was racist. So she had said something racist to one of the stylists one day, and I called her out about it. And the stylist was Hispanic, but she was Italian. And I was like, yeah, no, that's not gonna slide. And so I said something to her about it, and then she caught an attitude with me and tried to play white girl, and everybody was on my side about it because I didn't do anything except for like, yeah, don't do that, not in front of me. If you do that when I'm not around, cool, but not in front of me. It was a fun job. It could have lasted a lot longer, but I just didn't enjoy it anymore towards the end. It wasn't as lucrative. I didn't feel like they took my opinions into consideration ever. And I started to feel like I was worthless there, you know? So when I started to feel worthless, that's when I was like, why the hell would I be working for somebody else, bringing money to this company, and they think I'm worthless? So I quit. And there's a lot of different things that I can go into detail about, but there's really no need. Like, you guys are like, what happened to ASOP? I quit. And when I quit, everything went downhill. That was the final straw. What else could the company do? They tried to get a girl. There's like a biracial girl who would have taken the spot of me, and the white girl who also quit. I think she quit like a month or so right before me. This girl was like the happy medium. We can give her a shoot, but she was not a good model. She was not hitting the poses like me and the other girl, okay? I think her name was Stephanie. We used to hit them looks, okay? We used to eat them looks up, okay? The new model just wasn't eating, I'm sorry. So maybe she didn't have to do her hair, maybe she didn't have to do her makeup, and we could tell. So the clothes stopped selling. I don't know what happened with her because obviously I wasn't there anymore. Then they tried to get another girl. This girl kind of looked like me, but come on. No, I love you, girl. For the last little stretch you did your thing, I saw you on there. They would put her picture first and then put my pictures behind hers, and I was just like, okay. And then, you know, that was the end of ASOP. If I would say what it is, it was just bad management. The owners were very snooty and rude. Like, the first like 5 to 10 times that I saw them in the office, I would say hi. They would not even acknowledge me. They would pull up with the nicest, biggest cars, like bougie. Especially the lady that owned it. Bougie, okay, so bougie. Korean, yes, and bougie. Sometimes she'll come in with a dog, like, you be like, hi. And I don't know, at the beginning, I wasn't sure if she even spoke English. I was like, maybe she don't speak English. But I'll be like, hi, da da da, and she wouldn't say nothing. And I'm like, okay. So eventually I was like, if I see her, I'm not saying shit. What the fuck you talking about? I don't care who you are. You don't have to be rude. At the beginning, I was like, okay, maybe they don't speak English. And then I was like, I must be stupid to think that they own a brand like this and several brands, but they don't speak English. They just didn't care about me. They just saw me as like a worker. And so it is what it is. Now look at your little brand that you tried to start up. You know, I could really go into details on a lot of stuff, but there's really no need. Like, the company is not even a real company anymore. It closed down. If you type in asop.com, it's not there. Who knows if they'll open it up again a little later. They might. You know, maybe they're just trying to recuperate. Maybe they're trying to relocate something. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to rebrand. I didn't know. ASOP, the brand for what it was, is gone now. And it is what it is. I honestly don't think they were going to be able to make it without me. I used to be an open book, but then I turned into the type that didn't want everybody in my business. But because of all the stuff that I'm going through right now, I realized like closing myself off didn't help me at all. But I did try it to see if it would help my situation, and I don't think it did. So now I'm opening back up to you guys, and this is the story about what happened to ASOP. If you were wondering what happened to ASOP, the last message that I got from the lady who I worked with at towards the end, she was just like, oh, by the way, I don't work with ASOP anymore. And I was like, what? I was like, why not? And she just didn't respond. And that's how, just the fact that she didn't respond, that's exactly what they used to do to me before I left. Like, I'll want to know what's going on, and they just wouldn't tell me. So that's why I left. And that's why they closed down. Because you gotta talk to me. I'm ASOP. I'm the brand. I am the company. Did you guys watch Bling Dubai? Because yeah, I was that company. Let's be real. Ask as many questions as you want to ask down below, so that way I can make a follow-up video answering them, because I just kind of word vomited this, try to get everything that I could think of out, because I know I probably glazed over some things or skipped certain things, or like started talking about something and didn't finish it because I have ADHD. It is what it is. I don't have ADHD. Thank you guys for watching. Go out and do wonderful things in the world. Stay tuned for some more story times, because I'm opening this book back up, you guys. You guys are gonna know what the fuck is going on around here. I'm not playing these games no more. Everybody's gonna know what the hell's going on. Okay? Everybody gonna know what's going on.